Hello friends, today I would like to talk to you about transplanting adeniums. And in the end, if it won't start to rain, I would transplant one for you. Here are some adeniums growing in the ground. The tall ones are cross between obesum and somalense, and the short super branchy one is a cross between obesum cultivar broccoli and obesum cultivar plastic leaf. If I ever decide to transplant them into pot, it'll have to be done during dry season because lots of roots would have to be cut so they'll fit into pot. And they would have to dry those wounds for several weeks in a shade in order to heal them and don't start rotting once in a pot. In my experience, it is good to do it during the dry and warm weather. But even the plants in a pot, it's good to transplant when it's not too cold. Otherwise, they tend to rot. The seedlings, they transplant well for me any time of a year. Once the plant is at least 6 pairs of leaves large. Sometimes I thought that if I plant slow growing adeniums into large pot, it'll grow faster, but that didn't prove to be true. Here are two plants. One was fast growing and here it's its sibling, slow growing. They are crosses of Dr. Mark Dimit between Arabicum and dark red flowering obesum. By planting the slow growing in a very large pot, it didn't inspire the slow growing sibling to catch up with its sumo talented sibling. Well, the opposite problem than transplanting into bigger pot too early is transplanting too late. The adeniums have a very chubby roots, and sometimes those roots would tell you that the time is overdue. They push and pull, and finally they'll crack the pot. That's how I know I'm overdue in transplanting. And you might think that that was just a pot made of very thin plastic. But now they are actually capable of cracking a concrete pot. Here is an example. And here is another example. Amazing. I don't know if I can find another example. Let's see, maybe here somewhere. Okay. Here is another example. I'll expose the part of the swelling which would turn green by exposure to light, creating a taper effect to the trunk, something like in this bonsai here. Sometimes we think that the thickness of a trunk gives the feeling of age to a plant, but actually it's a taper. When we look on a telephone pole that has an even thickness, we don't feel like, wow, from what an old ancient tree that telephone pole was made. It's the taper that gives us the feeling of an old bonsai. I'll shake the growing medium to get rid of big bubbles of air. And voila! Here is the transplant. All I have to do is water it and mark on the sticker when did I transplant it, and I'm done. Goodbye, plant. Goodbye, the other plant. Goodbye, friends. See you next time.